Richard Rodgers with a walk-off touchdown. Total disbelief at Ford Field.
He may go all the way to the 20 down the right side, and there's Randall Cobb to the 5, to the end zone, to the touchdown. Oh my goodness.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Green and Golden Boys Packers podcast. This is the podcast for Packer fans wondering, is the season already on the line in week 2? I am your co-host Charles, and with me as always is Marcus. Marcus, how the heck are ya?
Hey Chuck, I'm doing well. Sitting up north on Lake Superior looking out at the beautiful water, and still contemplating what the heck happened last week with the Packers, but it's a new week, a new opponent. Let's talk a little bit about these Detroit Lions. It is a divisional matchup, and I think one that we're a little more excited for than we probably normally would be.
Well, for sure. I mean, I think for a couple reasons. A, we need a rebound game, right? Let's put the Saints behind us. We can talk more negativity if we wanted to, but we're not about negativity on this podcast. We're fanboys, bandwagoners, and let's just assume that Aaron Rodgers is right. That was one game. Let's move on. The Lions are interesting, right? Like the last several years, specifically in Lambeau, the Lions have given us a hard time. This is easy. We'll talk about the point spread a little bit later. Easily the Packers are favorited in this game. But like all of us Packer fans know, like NFL fans know divisional games are always a tougher route than they should be. And then the Lions are sneaky good against us. So I'm a little nervous, a little apprehensive. How about you?
Yeah, I mean, I would agree with you, especially after last week. I think eight or 9 days ago, I would have said, week 2 against the Lions at Lambeau, Monday Night Football, Packers win that, no brainer. Not
Boom,
so sure.
2-0.
Yeah, 2-0. Not so sure. Not so sure now. But yeah, I mean, to your point, they've always given us a hard time at Lambeau, and you can't overlook a divisional opponent ever. I think a lot of us thought that Jared Goff was a downgrade at quarterback for the Lions. Getting rid of Matt Stafford or losing Matt Stafford, however you look at it. But he threw a couple ducks last week, but I tell you, man, I mean, they came back and they were in that game up until the last couple of minutes. I mean, they were down. It was looking like a complete dominating performance by the Niners, and the Lions came back and scored some points and got within 8. It was kind of crazy.
Well, got within 8 and we're driving to tie the game. I mean, I think the game ended on the 49ers 30-something yard line. Like they were within field goal range. Obviously, they needed a touchdown to tie it up, but it wasn't like they got that last touchdown and couldn't get the ball back. There was an onside kick involved, I believe, in the game, and I think a dumb turnover late. But still, I mean, if you look at all our division rivals, everyone played in somewhat competitive games. The Bears arguably kind of lost control in the third, fourth quarter. The Packers are the team right now on paper. If you only look at the one game this year and you don't look at anything else, we're the team with something to prove right now because we showed zero life, zero positive things last week, and we have a challenge here this week.
Yeah, for sure. A couple of people stand out to me too that I want to talk about offensively. So, he's a great tight end, TJ Hawkinson. He's the one that I think it bounced off his helmet on the onside kick, and it went right back to the Lions. So big mistake there. But I mean, those are going to happen once in a while. But I think he's probably the right choice you want on the receiving end of that kick. But anyway, TJ Hawkinson's always a guy that we have to kind of be aware of on the field. How about your boy Jamal Williams? Over 100 yards last week, a touchdown. Dancing his butt off like we've seen him do for 4 years. I mean, happy for him, but he might be an issue.
He was a guy who obviously had to go last year, especially after we re-signed Aaron Jones. He had a contract year this year. Jamal Williams did. And I got to tell you, he was one of my favorite Packers with exactly what you just said, dancing in the pregame. And to see him go off like that, I was just, I was happy for him more than anything because, again, he was one of my favorite Packers the past couple of years. I'm hoping we shut that down here this year. Between him and their sophomore running back Swift. I'm drawing a blank on his first name. Their running game is not something to overlook, and I think that's going to be a challenge and somewhere that we kind of have to start with in the defensive front. Here in Lambeau, come Monday nights, by the way, a Monday night game to open up the season.
Yeah, and DeAndre Swift is somebody else I wanted to talk about too, because you talk about how in his second, third year we started to see these bursts from Aaron Jones in the receiving game, and especially in the running game. These quick lateral movements, and then the ability to kind of just break out. And I feel like I saw some Aaron Jones-esque skill ability and speed from DeAndre Swift last week. So if they're going to have a solid 1-2 punch at the running back position, and then have some threats with guys like Jay Sternberger and former Badger Quintez Cephas, I'm not sure that bodes well for our defense, especially if we're not able to get pressure or stop the run. This could be a long day for our defense. I mean, they've got to really figure out how to get pressure. Hopefully, pressure with 4. I mean, I know it's not something that we, are able to do that often, especially with Zadarius Smith having a back issue. But man, if we can't get Jared Goff off the spot and we can't get pressure on him, get him outside the pocket, stop the running game, that just opens up their entire playbook. And I know I probably say this every week, but I think it starts up front with our defense, and we just haven't seen it. Didn't see it last week at all, and it's been inconsistent at best, I think, the last couple of years.
Well, the one time we got a good pressure and forced an interception, it got called back on a ridiculous roughing the passer penalty. But yeah, we need plays like that early, here to set the tone in Green Bay this week, because you're right. I mean, again, because we didn't see much of anything last week from either side of the ball, it's hard to critique and to say what we need to improve upon. It kind of feels like this is week 1 again, just saying, hey, I hope we come out better. Kevin King, we saw him get burned a couple times last week. He needs to tighten that up, or we need to help, safety coverage over to Kevin's side. And to your point, rushing 4 kind of seems like what we're going to need to do if we can't rely on our corners. So I think you're right. It starts with Zadarius. Your pick last week, Rashad Gary needs to have a big game, right? I'm sick of hearing that he's the most athletic guy on the field. It's time for him to kind of break out and be a little bit of a superstar here. And this is a team, Jared Goff, in my opinion, is kind of like, to all you Viking fans listening out there, he's kind of like a Kirk Cousins, where if you get him off his spot, to your point, Marcus, he will throw that duck up there. He will make an error. And we need that to happen. We need a couple 3-and-outs early, and we need some turnovers, right? That kind of gave life to us last year. We need that pressure up front. And to your point, maybe football is just a very simple game. You say that every week because it's true every week. We need that up front pressure, and we need our guy Zadarius and Rashawn to be the leaders.
Yep, for sure. And if you're Matt LaFleur, this is just kind of me thinking out loud, but are you, if we win the coin toss, do you defer, or do you just take the ball right away and try to get some momentum, get the offense into a rhythm, or do you kick the ball?
Last year, you and I debated this all year, and I know the book says to defer and try and double up, but this team does not play well from behind. This isn't a theory anymore. It's fact, right? For the last 2-3 years, we don't play well from behind. So my gut is telling me go back to the old school way of get the ball first and put 7 points on the board. And for some reason, the Packers seem to play a little bit more with a little more swagger offensively and defensively when we have that lead. So what do I think Matt LaFleur will do? I think he will defer and try and get the ball back in the second half. What do I think he should do? I think he should get that ball first, and we need to have some nice, conservative, well-scripted out plays where we move the ball. Devontae should get 1 look that whole first series, and we should get 7 points on them early. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I would agree with you. I think given what we saw last week, let's keep the ball if we win the toss. Let's establish not only the running game, but let's establish some momentum. Let's get into a rhythm. And to your point, and I think we say this all the time too, but last week looked like Aaron Rodgers was just trying to kind of be the man, and you know, I just he wasn't taking what was in front of him. He was trying to force the ball. It seemed like making some bad throws, and we've seen him play like last year, pretty much in its entirety, play brilliantly within the offense if he is just checking down, or if he hits the player that's supposed to be schemed open, instead of trying to just, where's Devontae, where's Lazard, or whatever it is. We really need him to just kind of get back to basics and stop trying to be the hero.
Exact. To me, it's kind of like backyard basketball. You and I probably have a very average 3-point shot.
Speak for yourself, man.
1 for 5 type thing going on. And when you get in a cold streak, backyard, playing basketball on the court, if you miss 2, 3, 4 3-point shots, every now and then you got to go in and just take a layup and just hear the ball go through the hoop, or that short putt on the golf course, hear the ball hit the cup. And I think that's what was missing last week with the Packers. We were taking the 3-point shot. We were putting the 30-foot putt and expecting perfection, expecting the swoosh, expecting the putt to go in. Where we just need to start these games, like I said this 80 times last year, the Tom Brady style, 4 5-yard throws, not down the field at first, to make that secondary move up to protect the run and to protect against those quick slants. And then that downfield stuff opens up. So regardless of who we're targeting, how much we're spreading the ball around, I just hope LaFleur scripts this first series where we get those layups and we get those 2 3-foot putts. Now, every now and then, I personally miss the 3-foot putt, but I don't think Aaron Rodgers will.
Yep, I would agree with you. And it's funny because Matt LaFleur said, he said as much in his press conference. He's like, we got away from the running game too early. We abandoned the run too quickly. And it's kind of like, well, yeah. And I think, like we talked about last episode, when you've got A.J. Dillon averaging 5 yards a carry, go with him. If Aaron Jones is not having a great day, okay, feed somebody else. But we have to get that going right away, because to your point, that's going to open everything else up.
I want to talk about what the 49ers did to early in the game. Obviously, they had their troubles late, but how did the 49ers get off to such a great start? Well, we all know the name. George Kittle had 4 catches for 78 yards. Average 20 yards, right? Obviously, roughly a pass. This should be a non-Devontae type game, right? We should be looking to get these guys involved. Robert Tonyan. I don't believe Josiah DeGuara is going to be playing because he had a concussion. He did not practice so far this week. We are, by the way, recording this on Friday before the game on Monday. We need to see, and we're a broken record, we need to see some of these plays go towards our tight ends, go to the things that gave us success last year when Devontae wasn't playing. And I just am reminded of the fact that we won all of the games that Devontae is missing last year. We lost the games where Aaron Jones wasn't playing, right? So I think that the irony in us of kind of looking away from a number 1 wide receiver is apparent, but I think it's just, my offensive key and player to watch is avoid Devontae until we don't, right? Until Devontae puts in the dagger, right? And that's where we would need that defense, not really knowing where that ball is going to go. So we need Aaron to get going early. Aaron Jones, that is, and I'm calling Tonyan having a big game here against Detroit to match the guy that I think we all wanted to draft. What's the Lions tight end again?
What is his name? Hawkinson, T.J. Hawkinson.
Hawkinson's. I think we were all 2 years ago hoping that he would fall to the pack, and the Lions swept him up. But I think Robert, it's his time to shine. Show Packer fans, obviously we all know he's great, but outperform Hawkinson, right? And just have yourself a game, and I think we'll see success here early.